Hello, welcome to another segment of Coffee with Craig. Today I have the pleasure of having one of our legendary coaches here with us, Coach Robbie Pruitt from Williston High School. Coach Pruitt, thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. Coach Pruitt has a long-standing history in the state of Florida. Coached at multiple schools here in the state, won several state championships, is in the FHSA Hall of Fame. So very pleased to have him with us today. Coach Pruitt, if you could you tell me a little bit about your journey? I've read about you a little bit, but for folks that are tuning in to our segment today about your coaching journey from where you started at to where you're at today at Williston High School.
Well, I started in Jacksonville at University Christian back in 1984. I was 22 years old and got the head job there. I actually applied for the assistant job, and the head coach wound up retiring and kind of accidentally got that job, at a young age. Didn't know a whole lot, but got that job, and I was there from 1984 until 1992. We had a good run there, had some really good players, and didn't start out so well. We were 4-6 my first year, but we wound up our fourth year winning the state championship. We played in 5 and won 4 state championships when we were there. And then I took the Union County job in 1992. So I was in Lake Butler there at Union County from 92 till 1999 season. We were fortunate again to coach some great players, had a good run there. We won 3 state championships in a row, and we set the state record at that time for the most consecutive wins. I think a few years back, Lakeland beat it. I think Lakeland in game 53 won in triple overtime, and they lost the next week, so they got us by a game. But at that point in time, I went to Georgia. So 2000, I went to Fitzgerald, Georgia, and was there for a few years. Went to Warner Robins, Georgia, as a head coach. Back to Fitzgerald. I was at Fitzgerald total 11 years in Coffee High School, Coffee County for 10, and then 4 years ago came back to Florida. And I'm in my 42nd year as a head coach. So it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it has been. So I mean, I'm in the middle of my 42nd year. I've been a head coach 41 years and 5 games. So wow. That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. And that's very rare. Coaches 41 years right now. I guess when you look at today's scene, coaches stay 3 or 4 years, 5 years, 10 years maybe, but definitely not 40 years. Hearing about, and you talk about the 2 different states, Florida and Georgia, and your coaching experience, your years in Georgia, your years in Florida. Tell me some of the differences between Florida and Georgia as far as from an education standpoint and coaching standpoint.
From a football standpoint, it's just, they just put a lot more, into it financially, into the structure of the facilities. Georgia has what they call a SPLOST tax, which is a special option tax in the state of Georgia, and it's one penny out of every dollar goes to the school system every 4 years. So that money can only be designated for facilities. So if you go up into Georgia, the facilities are just, the weight rooms, the stadiums. There's numerous indoor. The school I came from, Coffee, we had a 25,000 square foot just football facility. We had a 15,000 square foot field house with a full kitchen, weight rooms, team meeting rooms, coaches' offices, a 10,000 square foot weight room with about $350,000 worth of equipment. Wow. They just built an indoor facility. You have all those things in Georgia that is revenue through that special option sales tax. So they just you can go to small schools and little towns that have 2 red lights, and the stadiums and all are just unbelievable. They just put a lot of emphasis. I know the Florida Football Coalition is working to help supplements for coaches, but my supplement at Coffee to coach football is $3,620. At Coffee, it was $35,000 plus a 12-month.
Wow!
So it's just the differences in what you can make financially in the facilities, and it's just no comparison. Now the athletes in Florida and both of them have great athletes, and the coaching in both states is really good. I just think the structure, the setup from from the government on down is just, it's, I think Florida's trying to address that, like I said, from what I'm hearing. And I'd sure like to help them if I could, because I've been in both states and know quite a bit about, the differences. But I think that's the main difference is you see the emphasis they put on it financially.
You're true, definitely spot on with that. I've heard that and been a part of some of the coaches coalition conversations and with some folks in Tallahassee about addressing the coaching pay here in the state of Florida. We coached over multiple decades. What has been the biggest change you've seen in players from when you first started coaching to kids that you're
Oh
coaching
man,
today?
well, I don't think it's any secret. All this, the pay for play and the NIL and the transfer and the kids. I don't see the loyalty that I used to see,
Okay.
from kids in a community. When I was at Union County, you couldn't blow those kids out of Lake Butler. You know what I'm saying? I mean, their granddaddies played, their daddies played, and now it's like college, and now I think everything starts at the top and comes down. But I think we're fooling ourselves if we think it hasn't affected high school too. That's been the biggest thing to me. It's a lot harder to build a culture, and you need to look at the future. There's no question about that, but you need to enjoy the high school experience. And if you do the things you're supposed to do in high school and you work hard, those things will come. But I think sometimes we put so much. It seems like I just see a lot more pressure put on kids to be at the next level.
Again, we're here to talk mostly about what happened last Friday night. Accomplishment that what I've read and heard that only one person there has been able to accomplish, winning 200 high school football games in two different states. What did that feel like after the game to accomplish that?
Well, it just brought back memories of all the things we're talking about, the teams, the people that got you to that point. It was really actually I didn't even have any clue about it until last year. Toward after the season, a guy from Max Prep had called me, and a guy in Atlanta that does a daily, Todd Holcomb, that used to write for the Atlanta Journal, and he does a daily. They said, you've won 196 games. You win 4 more games in Florida, you'll be the only coach to ever win 200 games in 2 states. It's never been done. I didn't even know about it till last year. As a coach, you kind of get the accolades, but it's really a lot of other people that make it happen.
I want to congratulate you on that accomplishment. It is definitely something that is noteworthy. The 200 wins in 2 different states is definitely something that you should be proud of. Any words of wisdom for any of our young coaches or anyone that's thinking to be a prospective head coach at some point in time, being that you've been through several decades of experience, 2 different states, private school, public school, small school, big school, so forth. Any words of wisdom that you would
Yeah,
share
I've
with
been,
some people?
if you look at it, I've been in a private school, and I've been in small schools and big schools, and Warner Robins and rural schools, and I loved all of it. If you do anything long enough, you'll be successful. Just keep work. The thing about coaching is the thing we talked about earlier. You do it because of the kids, and I'm at the age now where you really, when you don't realize it, probably even your first 15 or 20 years, you don't realize it till you get older, as a coach, that when you see these kids go off and have families and professions, and uh, I think you had to coach a certain amount of time to really
Yeah.
uh, respect and appreciate that part of coaching. Just here in the last few days, I've had, man, hundreds, if not thousands, of kids that have reached out and said thank you and stuff like that. You don't get when you're 10 years or 12 years in coaching. So, I would just tell them to hang with it and invest in young people, man. I mean, in one day that's what it's all about. It's so much more rewarding now than it was then, because when you're young, you're thinking about championships, and when you're not really thinking about the things that really make the profession what it is. I would just say stay with it, and one day it'll be very gratifying to you.
Again, coaches want to thank you for joining us, and again, thank you for tuning in to another segment of Coffee with Craig. Look forward to our next episode.